Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Jumpstart Live training webinar with myself, Christy, in case you didn't know who I was. And we've also got Rob and Sobia with me, who are going to keep a very close eye on all the questions and comments and little chat messages coming through as we go through our session today. I hope you're all having a great Thursday. Thank you for carving out some time to join us for a pretty jam-packed hour, I would say, of learning, especially if you are new to the Success platform. This is exactly where you should be. It really is an excellent way to continuously learn how to use these tools, right? We have a lot available to you through the Success platform, and we want to make sure that you're all really proficient, comfortable, able to do a lot of these things yourself. But of course, we are here to help, and that is really one of the big goals today for me, is to help you all just get a better understanding of how these things work and arm you with the knowledge that you need to feel like you have a little bit more control over your marketing and your follow-up systems. So today we are going to be talking about social media. It's definitely a topic that I would say is important, because I know that for many of you, it's something that you struggle with, just having maybe like enough of a presence on social media channels. Maybe you feel like you're just not very good at it. You're not sure what to post. You're not sure how frequently you should be doing things. You're a little bit unsure about content. So there's a lot of aspects that go into it, and I'll be fully honest and transparent here. It's something that I struggle with as well. I'm not the type of person who just, instantly wants to share things on social, especially personal things. And I think that as a real estate agent, you do have to really think about, how you want to portray yourself online. How do you want people to find you? What kind of content should you be sharing? What is that fine line between being professional and being more personal? So let me know in the chat where you're at in terms of using social media channels as a way to leverage your business. Just whatever information you can provide is helpful, right? Even if you're totally confused, you don't know where to start, let me know in the chat, because we're kind of going to start really from a very basic level here. Okay, I want this to be easy enough for all of you to walk away from this session today thinking, okay, I think I know what I need to do here. This is what I need to do next. This is kind of like the minimum amount of social media presence I should have, and I feel like I'm like that much closer to having a solid plan on how to do this. And I do see that we've got a couple people saying hello in the chat. So hello, Kyle. Hello, Azim. Good to see you. Hello, Michael. Yes, I know you just signed up, and you're going to be learning everything in sizable pieces. Okay, you're not going to necessarily learn everything today, but you will definitely learn something. So let's get into it, and of course, continue to let us know, some of the challenges that you're facing right now with your social media strategy and presence. So what I like to do when I get on the phone with a client and I'm talking to them about their digital marketing strategy, one of the first things I usually do is I just do a quick search online. I just do a little Google search of their name and see what comes up, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of clients who are doing a pretty good job of covering all of their bases in terms of an online presence. I'm going to start with Dion Irwin. I've used her as an example before on our webinars. She's out in Airdrie, Alberta. And the reason why I'm using her as an example is because she definitely puts a big focus on creating content and making sure that all of her branding is consistent. Consistency is really important when it comes to this type of marketing activity. I would say, though, consistency is very important all around. If you're not consistent, chances are things aren't going to work very well for you. So for those of you who are on these webinars every week consistently, chances are things are working for you. Things are starting to click. If you are posting consistently, if you're creating content consistently, then you're on the right track. Okay, so that is something that you got to write down in your book. Consistency is key. Keep that in mind. And we're going to start by looking at some of the links that come up. Now, if you do a search for your name on Google, it really depends on your name, of course. You may have to use the term realtor in your search, and the next example that I show will be an example of that, because there could be like a very famous person or someone else who has the same name as you, and you're going to see a lot of their content pop up on the search results page. But this is just Dion Irwin, her first and last name. And that's typically what like a prospect would look for, right? When they're searching for you online. Always consider that. That is, I would say, going to happen almost 100% of the time. Before you go on a listing appointment, before you meet up with a buyer, before you even get on the phone with somebody, chances are they're going to do a Google search for you. So you want to make sure you've got a really good idea of what they're going to see when they do that. So the first thing that should come up should be some sort of link to your website, okay? Google's pretty smart when it comes to connecting people to content that is relevant to what they're searching for. And your name is a pretty unique search term, so there should be no issues with your website coming up first for your name. Now, ideally, you want it to be a website that is a branded site for you, right? You don't want it to necessarily be a page on your broker's site or something that is not controlled by, by you, essentially. It should be your website that comes up. So that's what we're seeing first here. And then we see Instagram, Facebook. We've got this REW. I'm not sure what this is, real estate something. LinkedIn, realtor.ca, and more website links. And then we've got some images and things like that. So that's all kind of what I would expect to see. Now, we definitely want to start seeing some videos, right? So video content. We are seeing YouTube channel further down the list here. Rank My Agent. You may have like a Yelp profile, things like that. TikTok, right? How many of you are using TikTok as a way of getting your content out there? So the first page, ideally, is going to be all of your profiles, links, information that's going to connect people to you, so you can be found easily on all these channels. So this is something that I like to do with clients as we're kind of getting them on board. Now, you'll also notice on the right-hand side, this is what we call the Google Business. And you really want to make sure you've got a Google Business set up as well. So this is sort of the first step, guys. If you do a search for your name, okay, and you may need to add realtor to it, as I said, if you've got a name that is a little bit like more common, or there's another high-profile person with your name, they're going to probably pop up before you do. So you may need to add realtor, you may need to add a city or something like that. But you want to get to a page where you see all of your links to your website and whatnot. And if you're not seeing your website, if you're not seeing Instagram, if you're not seeing Facebook, if you're not seeing LinkedIn, if you're not seeing YouTube, and if you're not seeing a Google business page, then we need to do some work. Okay, we need to make sure that you have got those accounts set up, and we need to make sure that each one is consistent in the fact that it's using your name and maybe your business name or your brand. I know with Dion, she's with Remax, so that's part of her title here. But she also has some guarantees. But it's mostly about her. Okay, it's mostly her name, and that may kind of go against what some of you believe in terms of like, well, I shouldn't be marketing just my name. I should be marketing very specific offers like guarantees and things like that. And that's not wrong. That is true. But you have to think about your prospects and your clients and what those people are going to be searching for. They are going to be searching for you. So that's really important. So write this down. Step one is do a quick Google search for your name, see what comes up. And if you're completely happy with the results and you think all of those accounts are good to go, great, you can check that off the list. If you're not seeing these, then that is the first step. Make sure these accounts are set up and make sure that they have your name in the titles, in the account names, account handles, so that they come up when people are searching for you. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I haven't really done a lot of work on my Google business page. I haven't really done a lot of work on my Instagram. I haven't done the work. So maybe I don't want people to see it just yet. Don't worry about that, okay? It's more about making sure that the titles of all those accounts and things are consistent and that they are set up. Next step is we're going to get into how to optimize each one, at least to a place where it's got some good content, some information that's going to be helpful to people and it's helpful for you, in order to get more traction with your marketing. Now, I did see a message pop up in here about SEO. So that's search engine optimization. That's kind of what we're talking about here as well. What this is optimizing a search to show exactly what you want to show. Okay, so yes, having these social media accounts active and tuned in to the right titles and handles, that does help with your SEO for you, right? Like for your name, for your brand. Let's take another look at one of these search results pages. So this one is George Lorimer. I also really admire what he does in terms of all of the content that he creates and just like how active he is when it comes to social media. So if I do a search for him, it looks a bit different, right? I mean, he's actually in a different country. He's in the US. I'm right now in Canada. He's in San Diego. So I'm not seeing the Google business here necessarily, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It may be just because I'm in a different country, I'm not seeing it. But I did do a search for his name, George Lorimer, and I was seeing a lot of different things pop up. So there is another public figure or high profile person that has his name. So I had to add realtor onto it. So you got to take that into consideration. I know that some of you may have names that obviously aren't going to be 100% unique. Now, going down his list, I see we've got Facebook, we've got Yelp, LinkedIn, but not so much Instagram, not seeing the YouTube channels. Okay, we are seeing some YouTube here. So there's YouTube. We have some other pages and things like that. So it's not bad, to be honest, it's not bad. And also, I know I have to take into consideration that I'm not doing a local search. Somebody who's looking in the San Diego area may see something different, but at least I can see that he does have these profiles set up and he does have his name present in the titles here. So Facebook, for instance. Okay, so let's start with Facebook. Facebook's an easy one. to start with, because I would say that probably 99% of you all have a Facebook business page set up. If you don't, right? If you don't yet have a Facebook business page up and running, raise your hand or let us know. But I'm guessing that most of you do. Now, how many of you, though, are posting to your business page on a regular basis and trying to keep that page active? And how many of you have gone through the process of customizing your business page for your business? And then also let me know if you're one of those people who has set up a whole bunch of Facebook business pages. Like at some point you were told that you need to have um, all different types of business pages, like for different areas and things like that. Because I'll tell you right now that that's probably not what you should be focusing on. That the business page that you've got for your business is kind of like your Google business page, right? You just want it to represent you and your business. And when you have multiple pages set up for this purpose, you are really putting yourself at a disadvantage, because now you're not just focusing on leveraging one page. You're going to be stuck with having to manage all of these pages that most people probably aren't even going to see. So try to focus on one primary business page. Okay, so if you've got multiple business pages, pick the one that has the most likes, the most followers, and just go with that. Now, the business page, you got to look at it kind of like a profile or a website. Make sure all of the contact information is up to date. You will see here that you've got your contact info. You've got a little intro. A lot of you have to have your DRE number in there. You got to have your brokerage in there. Definitely you want a link to your website on there. You can encourage people to go into Facebook and leave reviews. That's always a good idea, to get reviews. The Google business page, I would say, is also a great place to try to get more of those reviews. But at minimum, just make sure you've got your contact info, and then you can add some graphics, right? A profile photo, a nice one, like that's, it doesn't have to be a professional one, but make sure it's like a full headshot that's clear. Some people use logos. Not crazy about that, to be honest. I know that like some of you may think, well, I want my logo to represent my business. Sure, but this is also your business page. You're kind of the face of your business. So I would definitely try to use a nice profile picture if you can. I think that's better than a logo. But ultimately it's up to you. Just make sure it's a decent picture, okay? This top banner section, you may want to have maybe a photo of a house that represents sort of your area. George obviously has his phone number. He's got his guarantee. That's all a good idea as well. So you could have kind of a nice graphic up there. That's fine. But more importantly, try to get some activity in here and some posts. So one thing that George does really well, and Dion does this too, is whenever they do something, okay, whether it be a blog post, a new listing, they shoot a new video, whatever it is, they're always posting it on their page. Okay, so and it's super quick to do. You just go in, you create a post. You can boost it. Okay, that is something that you can do. You can just hit boost, and that'll give you the ability to spend a little bit of money and get it out to more people. But I think the main goal here is to have a fairly steady stream of content coming through the page, so people can see, okay, George is active. He's got posts that are recent. He's talking about the market. He's talking about his listings. He's talking about like that's like, he's talking about what's happening in the marketplace. He's got some helpful tips. He's sharing HDX listings. So you'll notice something. I'm going to point something out here, and I want you guys to write this down as well. When you're posting things on Facebook, and this is different from Instagram, okay? Now you can, like, as you know, Instagram and Facebook, they are under the umbrella of Meta. They are both connected to the same outlet, right? But they're quite different. The way that you use them is quite different. So one nice thing about the Facebook business page is that you can include links in your posts, and you always want to do that. That's one thing that George is doing really well. So each one of his posts, he's got a link, and you can click on the link, right? So I can just go here. It's going to take me right over to a single property website. So this is his listing that he's marketing, and it goes directly to that, back to his website. He's got other links in here for his blog, for instance. So this looks like it was some sort of shortened link that he used here. If I go further down, I can see that this one is going right to the blog. So that's another really important aspect to this, is when you're posting on your page, always include a link back to your website, right? Because that's where people can go in and see all of that content. So a couple of things that you can write down as far as things to post that are appropriate. Any type of market report or any sort of blog post that you're doing on your website, definitely drive traffic back to that. Listings, anytime you have any listing, maybe events that you are participating in, or that you are maybe hosting, right? Some sort of real estate event. Testimonials are really great to share as well. So those are things that you can definitely be posting on your blog, but also on your Facebook page. Okay, so just be consistent with that. Have that content kind of rolling through on that Facebook business page. Now let's talk a little bit about Instagram. And I'm going to go back to Dion's here so we can take a look at her Instagram account. So Instagram is like very, very popular social media platform. And people share all sorts of content on there. A lot of it is video, so video reels and other types of stories. My machine is kind of slow here. So when you go, so if you are on Instagram, let's say, chances are you're going to see a series of, as I said, reels, stories, images, and maybe inspirational quotes, things like that. So let's just take a look at some of these, and we can kind of determine like what the best practice is here for Instagram, because you can't really share links as easily. I think you can in the bio, but when you're posting, it's not as easy to send traffic back to your website. So a lot of it tends to be more inspirational, but you could definitely post a picture of a listing, and then maybe share when the open house is, or maybe share your phone number and how people can get in touch with you. This is a post for Easter, for instance, but let me see if I can find some others that are more for a listing. So this one looks like it was, yeah, so this is more like somebody who's just joined the team. Really quick little video on that. This one is for a listing here. So that's Dion talking about the property. And then we have a little write-up on that property here. Okay, so not really linking to a website per se, but we're sharing content about that listing. So it's a bit different in that sense. I would say that also you are trying to get more engagement on Instagram, ideally, and that would be likes, comments, things like that. Hashtags are also a good idea when you're posting on Instagram because people sometimes are searching for information based on those keywords and those hashtags. So you can see in here, we've got, Airdrie real estate, Airdrie living, Airdrie realtor, Airdrie Alberta, like all of these things have to do with her area and that's what she wants to show up for, right? So that is kind of a good place to start when it comes to Instagram is you have to be very visual. You have to have graphics and videos that you're sharing. And you have to just make sure that you've got some content in the post that explains what's happening in the video or in the image, along with some hashtags as well. Now you can spend money on Instagram ads. That is sort of another topic in itself, is running ads on Instagram, because you can do that. This is more the free content sharing strategies that we're talking about here that don't necessarily cost anything for you to do on Facebook or Instagram. It just depends on you going in and posting things. Okay, so now let's take a look at a couple of other things. I'm going to get into some YouTube tips as well, and then we're going to take a look at the blog and how that sort of falls into the mix and how you can create content within your website that is designed to share on social media. So YouTube, if I go back into my search here, it's also an important social media channel as well, because it is connected to Google, right? You want to make sure that when somebody is in Google, they're going to find your content as easily as possible. And having YouTube there certainly helps. Now, if you are creating video of any kind, it's always a good idea to, of course, edit it and make sure that it is suitable for people to see on your channel. But it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You just need to make sure that you've got like a decent microphone. It's really easy to shoot video these days just through your webcam or on your phone. But you'll see on the YouTube channel, we're also very consistent with our branding, right? We've got the name, we've got the all of the contact information. We are definitely aware that Dion is in the business of real estate. And you can see here that YouTube's always changing their interface and they're always adding new things. But there are some links up here. So there's home, videos, shorts, playlists, and community. So you can check out all of these different sections within YouTube to see, what typically shows up there. Like home will have everything. Videos, shorts. So shorts are very similar to, the Instagram shorts or, what you would typically see on TikTok. The orientation of shorts are always more vertical. So probably, the type of video that you'd shoot on your cell phone, whereas videos are more horizontal, landscape type layout, right? That you see here. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the type of device and the way that people are consuming those videos. There's no doubt that watching a video on your phone is going to look better if it's in a vertical layout. However, you can always move your phone and make it horizontal. So I think shorts are exactly, the way that they're described. They're meant to be short. They're not like, whereas a YouTube video can be an hour long, right? It doesn't, or longer, it can be hours. So anyhow, if you're not into creating a bunch of video, that's okay. You could just put your listing virtual tours up here, right? Like chances are you're getting some sort of virtual tour done for listings. You could use that. I think that most real estate boards and MLS boards put out some sort of video that you can share, or something that maybe has to do with market statistics. I always recommend, if you're not sure what type of video content to create, just take a look at what your competitors are doing, right? Take a look at what some other agents that you admire are doing, and see if there's a way that you can maybe take some of that and do that kind of for yourself or for your own purposes. So for those of you who are kind of struggling with this idea of creating video, let me know what it is that's really holding you back. Is it the technology, like you're not sure technically how to do it, or you just don't feel comfortable creating that video, or maybe you have problems with the post-production, right? You know how to shoot a video, it's just editing it, getting it to a place where you feel comfortable sharing it publicly. Maybe that's the challenge that you have. But identify where you're getting stuck with this, and then think, okay, I I know how to create a video. I'm just really struggling with getting it online into a place where it can be found and shared. That's usually, I think, a good place to start. Identify where your roadblocks are. I can see that Michael just posted, are they making videos with their phones, or do you need a mic? I think in some cases, if you're outside, you probably would want a mic for sure. But if you are in an office, or if you are kind of in a closed, quiet environment, you can use your phone. And I've got myself some earbuds, and those work just fine, for audio. So that's another thing that you can try to use. I know that Azim just posted, not a big fan of how he appears on video. You know what? Who is? Like, even the most famous actors don't like watching themselves, right? I think it's just something that you gotta kind of get past it and start to think, well, it's not necessarily about me. It's about the information that I'm sharing. It's about the content that I'm sharing. So that is YouTube. Now, what's great about the platform, about the Success platform, is that we can connect to all of these things. Okay, we can connect to your face pages, we can connect to your YouTube channel, we can connect to all of these things, right? To make it easy for you to share on those platforms. So I'm going to share with you some settings. Right now, I am in the Success platform in the dashboard. And first thing I'm going to bring you to is under settings, under this menu, you're going to see under integrations here, Google Sync. Okay, Google Sync. This is a little bit different from your email settings, because we do have a way to connect to your Gmail as well. So I'll just go back and show you the difference, right? So under settings, there's the Google Sync, and then there's email settings. Not everyone uses Gmail, right? So you can connect to your email settings through email settings, including Gmail. Google is really only for connecting to a Google account that is also connected to your Google Calendar and your YouTube channel. Okay, so that's what you want to connect to here is whatever Google account you're using for your calendar and for YouTube. And once you do that, okay, once you get that connected, now we can go ahead and take a look at your YouTube stats, for instance. Or when we're creating content, we can link directly to YouTube and grab some of that video content from there. So that's something that you're going to want to check out and do. Now, also, the blog is something that is included in our platform. Okay, in the Success platform, you have access to the blog, which is where you can post things like the market stats and any type of content that you really want to share on your social media channels. You can create blog posts for that. I'll show you a couple of examples here of blogs. So this one is Dion's, and we've got content about population growth, what to expect as a first-time buyer, why you benefit from using a buyer's agent. This is really timely, right? With everything that's coming from that NAR settlement, especially in the States, with how buyer representation agreements are going to be affected and buyer commissions, why you benefit from using a buyer's agent. Maybe now is the time to start really creating some content and some awareness about these things. It's a timely topic, and it certainly would benefit all of you to have some content already addressing these things. So not only are you going to have information that you can share with your existing clients, either through an email or a social media post, but you'll also have a way of getting people to find you organically because you have this content if they're searching for it, right? Like, let's say somebody in your area is searching, like, why should I hire a buyer's agent, or why do I need a realtor? Things like that. If you have content already that addresses those questions, it's more likely people are going to find you when they're searching for that. So get ahead of it, right? Start creating some content about that. Like this one, for instance, I haven't read any of these, but like now I'm curious to see what we've got. So the image, right? You always want to have an image as part of your content. One of the things that I will give you as a tip, as far as images are concerned, there's a few things that you can use for this. Canva, excuse me, Canva, canva.com. Really great editing software. I mean, I sort of grew up using Photoshop and Illustrator and all those Adobe products that were pretty complicated. You'd have to take a course to learn how to use them. And to be honest, I've sort of moved over to much easier tools like Canva because they're just so good. They work so well, and you can get a free account and still do pretty much everything you need. So let me know if you're one of those people that uses Canva because it's really an amazing tool. But you can also find stock-free images, royalty-free stock images on places like pixabay.com or Unsplash. Maybe I can get Rob or Sobia to maybe put some links into the chat there for some of those royalty-free image places. You do want to be careful about the images you use. You don't necessarily want to use images that are copyright protected because that could get you in a little bit of trouble, right? If you get caught by Getty Images or one of those big image houses that love to send out cease and desist letters. Another thing that you'll find, especially when you're like creating shorts or reels or things, is usually Facebook and Instagram and YouTube will have some stock audio or visual things that you can use. And those are usually okay, but if you're just searching for stuff online, like you just wanted to Google, a picture of a house in Airdrie, Alberta, for instance, the images that come up for that search aren't royalty-free images, right? They could be images that are copyright protected. So make sure that you've got an image that you don't have to worry about when you're sharing it or using it for your content. Now, the content itself, you can use tools like ChatGPT for this. Really, really easy to go into ChatGPT. How many of you are using that? It's free also, and really effective in terms of creating some keyword-rich, well-written content with, whatever tone you want. You could have it be a funny type of post, or more serious, or more corporate, or, speaking like in the tone of an enthusiastic millennial, right? Like there's all sorts of tricks you can use. And we've done webinars specifically on this, actually. If you go through the Jumpstart webinar archives or you just go into Jumpstart into our portal and do a search for AI or ChatGPT, you'll be able to go back to some of those calls that we did specifically on that, using that tool for it. But this shouldn't take long, okay? There should be pretty much no more than maybe 15, 20 minutes put into creating the content. But when you have this, right, you now have a URL that you can share. So you see this link up at the top in the browser. I can copy that and I can paste it into LinkedIn, and I can paste it into Facebook, and I can share it through email, right? We even have these little share links here that you can use. So if you wanted to post on Facebook, for instance, you could go ahead and click this little share link to do that. Very, very easy to do. And it's just, step by step. You create the content and then you share it on Facebook, you share it on LinkedIn, you share it. Instagram is trickier because you can't necessarily have links in there, but you could have a picture and like maybe a more condensed version of it in Instagram, for example. And then at least you've got some consistent content going out. Okay. Thank you, Sobia, for sharing those links to the royalty-free image places. Now let's take a quick look at listings also. Listings, great content to share. And then we'll look at a little bit more reports and other types of content that we can share. So when you have a listing, you really want to make sure you've got a series of things that you're doing for that listing. And you can also do this as a co-marketing exercise. If you know an agent that has a listing and they want a little bit of help on the marketing side, you can volunteer to help them with that, right? By posting it on your website, sharing it on your own social media, and all of those things that we can do to help you boost the traffic to your website for that property. But the first step, just like with the blog content, the first step is to have the listing on your website. So the quickest way to do that is to go into your dashboard, go to listings. Okay, when I click on listings here, you can either import the listing from the IDX. So if your listing is on the MLS already, you can import it from there. Okay, there's a little button here to import, or you can just go to add new. So add new is going to bring up a very easy listing editor. You just plug in the address, you plug in the city, province, everything is here. You can add your features, you can add your photos. It's all very easy, very, very simple way to add your listing. Now you can also add a coming soon property. So when you add a coming soon, this isn't something that's not on the MLS. You can also put in the expected date on market, and that will automatically show up on a hidden secret coming soon page on your website. But get your listing in here, right? Because once the listing is in your portfolio, in your inventory, now we can do things with it, right? We can create a page for it, and we can start marketing it, driving traffic back to your website. So in this case, I can see here that this particular property, right? When I go into look at the different settings, I can see that there is a single property site set up for this, right? So you see these icons here. And then if I look on my graph, I can see that this little column here, single property site, this is checked off. So this does exist, it's here. And that's when you get a page that looks like this. Okay, so this is a specific home that we've created its own page for. So that makes it very easy to share. Also, we have some buttons here that also make it very easy to share. Like Facebook, you can share directly to that, but you do get a URL that has the address of the property in it, like this. So I'm just going to actually get rid of all this. This is probably something that gets added by Facebook, but that there is the URL. Now, some of you may be interested in tracking this domain name, or perhaps sending out an email to promote it. These are all definitely things you can do in the campaign tracking area here. So in the campaigns, I can go into campaigns and I can create a tracking URL for that property. If you want, if that's something that you wanted to do. If you wanted to be able to track the amount of visits and things that are coming from that or going to that listing, we can set that up because it has its own page now. So for instance, if I go to advanced campaign, and let's say I'm going to market this on Facebook, I'm going to give it a title. I'll just use the address, 63 North Broadway. Source will be Facebook. I'll use the address again here. So this is my tracking code. Okay, this is what I'm creating for this property. And then I can pick my target website, which is going to be the branded site. And then I have to find the landing page. So the landing page, we've got a lot of them here, but the landing page is the address, right? So I can find that page, and it's going to produce this tracking URL. So now when I advertise that property or I drive traffic to it, I'll be able to see this in my campaign report. Okay, so that's one thing that you may want to do for tracking, but it's not totally necessary. In fact, the way that I prefer to market listings on Facebook is to use the paid ads. So I'll show you just a really quick example of this. It's easy to set up. It's something that we can help you with when we're managing your ads. So every time you have a new listing, we can set up a campaign for it on Facebook, a paid campaign, but it doesn't have to cost a lot, right? It can cost like, I don't know, $5 a day. We can run it for 2 weeks. Doesn't have to be evergreen, doesn't have to keep going. But the ad itself is really just a series of images of the property, bullet points. We can target a specific audience for the campaign and have those leads come through on Facebook. So in order to make this happen, because some of you may be running ads or running campaigns on Facebook and the leads are not coming into your success website or into your CRM, then we can fix that, right? If your leads are not flowing into your CRM from Facebook, we can definitely fix that. You just need to get with our technical support team and we can walk you through the steps of connecting your page to the CRM. But the ad itself, and this is an example of one that's specifically for retargeting. So when I go into this ad, and we're spending 15 bucks a day on this one, so it's definitely getting in front of a lot of people. But the audience is a retargeting audience, which means we are focusing more on people who have already had some exposure to either George on Facebook or his website. And that's all done through the audience settings. I'll just try to show you that quick. Okay, we're in the ad here. Okay, so this is what the ad looks like. It's got pictures of the property, and it has some selling points, right? Spacious floor plan, huge wraparound deck, quiet, walkable location. We're using a carousel type ad for this. So we've got 3 photos that people can see for this property. And then we're also using the lead form. Okay, so the form title is the property, and that's what, so people can go in, they can hit learn more to get access to that page that we set up for this property, right? When they go in through the form, they will submit their information, and when they hit continue, they go to your website to view all of that property, all of the property details there. So this not only is adding more content to social media, but it will also generate leads for you, which, you know, really at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to have leads coming into our CRM, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to get them on the phone and contact them and get in front of them. What we're also doing, though, is when you see this post, it's showing up all over the place, right? So this is how it looks on the Facebook feed. This is what it looks like on Instagram, for instance. And you'll see here that there is an option for learn more. Okay, people can click on that post on Instagram to go to learn more. And that, well, that's basically going to pop up the form. So that's kind of how you can generate leads more on Instagram, is through the ads manager when you're running the paid ads, because it's going to automatically post to Facebook and Instagram. Now, the way that it shows up is a little different, right? It's got the big photos. It, you know, it shows the multiple photos. People can click on more to get those details, but the layout is a bit different there. This is the Instagram profile feed. And Facebook Marketplace, it will show up there as well as a sponsored ad. Facebook video feeds, Instagram Explore, and Facebook Business Explorer. And then down here, we've got the stories and reels. So this is kind of a fast track way to get your content on all of those channels without having to separately go into each one and create things for each one. Okay, this is one of the big benefits of doing the paid ads within the Facebook Ads Manager. But as I said, you don't have to spend a ton to do it. But I would say that it is definitely should be a big part of your social media strategies to have some paid ads set up and going out. Even if you think that the Facebook leads are not the best, even if it's not your preferred method for generating leads, it's still a good idea. And for the minimal cost, it does save you a ton of time in terms of the just like having to go in and constantly create content and post it, things like that. You can basically tell Facebook, here's my content. I want it to go out to all these channels. Here's my budget. And there you go. It's kind of like a set it and forget it. But with listings, I would say you do want to put a time period on it and have it end after a couple of weeks, just because if that listing sells, you don't necessarily want to have that still going out there. But you can definitely have more evergreen content in your ads manager that is more for remarketing and retargeting. And that's where you're going to share things like your reels and your testimonials and the special reports, things like that. So really quick, because I know we're running out of time here, but we've got some retargeting campaigns that are very specific to certain areas, but they also have a variety of content in them. And sometimes it says learning limited. What that means is it's still trying to get enough data. It's not generating enough to exit the learning phase. So usually that is kind of a hint or a recommendation from Facebook to maybe make some changes to it so it gets in front of more people. But we've got a variety of different things happening in here, like videos and images. We got a cash offer ad, and you can see here the reach, the impressions, the results. All that data is here as well. So this is also something that you're going to want to become familiar with in the ads manager, but this is more of an advertising strategy that we can certainly help you with here at Success, right? We do manage Facebook ad accounts. We have a lot of experience with setting those up, whether it be a lead gen account, or sorry, a lead gen ad, or a remarketing, retargeting type ad that is supposed to go out to people who've already either submitted their information or have had some exchange with your business. And then, yeah, just to answer Russ's question, that the Facebook paid ads do automatically go on to Instagram. Unless you tell the platform not to show it there, it will automatically show there. And then you actually have access to stats that tell you, okay, it showed up more on Facebook than it did on Instagram and things like that. You can also run an ad campaign that only shows up on Instagram if that's something that you wanted to do. A lot of brands, a lot of e-commerce companies do that as well. So that's kind of just to do a recap, everybody. Main thing really is get all of your channels lined up. Okay, going back to the Google search, make sure you've got your channels set up and that they're all consistently branded. And then start to just get some content onto those channels, right? The real estate reports, listings, events, you can actually share if you've got the HDX website with Success, or with another service perhaps. You can share that, right? So these aren't even your listings, but you could share a hot list of homes. These are just listed homes in San Diego. So start to think about the content that you can quickly and easily share without you having to create something, and just get some content on your social media channels, and then start to think about your blog and how you want to start getting regular traffic back to your website to view that information. And then listings, just make sure you're getting those listings onto the site and you're creating content around those listings. Okay, I think we're going to have to wrap it up there. So please let us know if you need any help with this. I'm going to go back to Success Web Care. This is our support hub. This is where you can go to contact us, successwebcare.com. All of our support contact information is here. This is also where you can go to log into your command center and our training portal. I've got lots of great training in here that gets into all sorts of topics. You could literally spend days and weeks and months watching our training, which might drive you a little bit crazy, but it's all there. It's all there. So take a look at it. And of course, contact us if you feel like you need some help with your digital marketing strategy, including the social media strategies. We can certainly guide you and help you with that. Otherwise, we are going to be back next week. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Sobia and Rob, for keeping an eye on the chat and the questions. We definitely look forward to seeing more of you online. I want to use each and every one of you as an example on one of these webinars sometime soon. So get at it and have a wonderful day. We will see you next week.